Might be a bit tight for your family this summer, and you may not be able to afford that family vacation, but guess what? You may be paying for your congressman to jaunt off to Paris in style. The Wall Street Journal just analyzed congressional travel records and found spending on taxpayer-financed congressional trips has tripled since 2001. In 2008, $13 million was spent sending our representatives abroad, not just to Iraq and Afghanistan, but to the Galapagos Islands, Italy, and Paris to stay in the Intercontinental. Rooms cost $500 a night. Remember, this is your money. Legitimate work trips or taxpayer-funded vacations. John Bussey, Washington Bureau Chief of the Wall Street Journal, joins us. John, so what do you got?
Well, this is a story by Tim Farnham and Brody Mullins, and what they did was they went back and scoured the spending bills and reports of Congress to see what has been happening on the travel front. And it is what you say. It's a huge surge. Mind you, in 2005, there was a new law that said that Congress could no longer take free travel from lobbyists. So now it's shifted to the taxpayer. And you'd really be surprised where a lot of these Congress members go.
Like?
Well, the Galapagos Island, for one. This was a trip by Brian Baird, a Democrat from Washington State. And his ostensible reason for going was, and it sounds like a good one, global warming. Took his wife, some other members of Congress, their families, and they did, in fact, talk to some scientists there, but they also spent some time at breeding centers for giant turtles, and the families went off and snorkeled, and it was a 4-day trip in the Galapagos Islands to study global warming.
You know, it's interesting because there seem to be two types, because I know Congressman Dutch Ruppersberger, and he has been to Iraq 6 times. He's on the Intel Committee at the House. He's been 3 times to Afghanistan. He has asthma, just had surgery. He travels on military planes and sits on the bench. And, you've got those guys.
Yep.
You've got the guys that do the heavy lifting, and then you got another one going down the Seine, right?
Yes, you
do. In Paris.
Yeah, that's right. Though there was a trip to see the Paris Air Show and to talk to some defense industry specialists in Europe, but it resulted in several Congress people taking boats down the Seine to get to know each other. Is another reason that's.
Who pays these?
Well, this is the Congress people's own decisions. These codels are decided by members of Congress, and they take military flights of 16 military planes that are set aside just for this. They can cost from $3 grand to $12 grand per hour to run. And what you see in the records is a fraction of the cost of the spending. What they don't report is the cost of those military planes, which get booked on a different ledger someplace. And so we really don't fully know. We can only estimate how much is being spent, and it's quite a bit. You
know, it's so important to go and see places. Like, I want those who are voting to do things in Iraq to go see Iraq. Go see what our men and women are doing over there and experience it so that the men and women get the equipment they need or whatever it is. And then these others to go to air shows. I mean, can't you watch those on TV?
Yes.
I mean, it's like, do you really need those?
You would think. Or take a fellow member of Congress around the corner to a nice bar, Capitol Hill, to get to know them instead of going to Paris to do
Get
so.
to know them. Oh, my God.
But your point's well taken. A lot of these trips are legit. There were 113 trips in 2008 to Iraq, not to Iraq alone, not just Afghanistan as well, but just Iraq. That is not a garden spot. These are tough trips to make. Even if the flight over the ocean is easy, once you get there, it's not pleasant. So there's a lot of these trips that are made that are serious study trips, and then some you have to question.
Where do we find these? Are these on some website so we can go through, see who's going to Iraq and Afghanistan and who's going to the air show in Paris?
Yes, you can. And then we're going to continue following this. We're going to continue writing about this topic. But you can go to WSJ.com and take a look.
The Wall Street Journal has it. What's great? What's my favorite paper? I always say that, though. Anyway, of course, I should say that we're corporate cousins, so it looks like...
We are indeed.
I liked it before we were corporate cousins. Anyway, thank you.
My pleasure.
Coming up...